Transfer Beats.
For your Caesar, Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar.
Good evening. Welcome to the Cardiff City phone-in for Monday evening. The Bluebirds perched top of League One after 12 games, 26 points in the bag, 1 point ahead of Stevenage, who've got a game in hand. Buoyed by a rousing second half against the Royals of Reading. Manager Brian Barry Murphy says, we looked at our best second half when the shackles came on. But why were they on in the first place? First half, Gabriel Osho looked a bit awkward. Our midfield went AWOL, and we failed to test Reading keeper Jack Stevens, making a rare nervous start for the Royals. But hey, we put in a shift second half. The kids did all right. 3 points in the bag. But the question is, are we happy, Bluebirds? Get involved in tonight's show. It promises to be a busy one. On the panel tonight, bottom left, Mr. Nigel Harris. Nice to see you, Nigel.
Evening, boys. Evening, all.
Top right, Mr. Gary Lee. Welcome back, Gary. Nice to see you, mate.
Yeah, and you, Wick. Cheers, mate.
And bottom right is Mr. Mark Blackmore, all the way from Bromsgrove, Mark.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good evening,
Nice.
everyone.
Yeah. We'll start, Nigel. What do you reckon about Saturday? I've seen you with a couple of posts on certain Facebook pages. Some people don't like whatever you put on some of those pages.
Yeah, honestly,
it's a forward for discussion. So
yeah, if they saw me at Final West Whistle on Saturday and they saw the message I sent to all my Swansea and Liverpool friends over the weekend, they I'm as happy as anyone about it. But message boards are there to have little opinions, aren't they? So, it's great we're top of the league, and it's a fantastic team who can actually not play that well, just find their way to turn the heat up for 10 or 15 minutes and win these games. But and it's a nice habit to have. And the only reason I put a post up is to say, look, we're starting games way too slow. We haven't played a good first half there, other than Burnley and Wigan away since August, as far as I'm concerned. And the stats speak for themselves, don't they? You know, we've scored 2 goals in the first 40 minutes, 19 goals after 40 minutes. So there's something not right in the way they set the tempo, and we know it's to do with the fact that we've got a fantastic bench that other League One teams can't really match, so we can change things in the second half. But, you know, is it sustainable that we're just going to start games slow? That's the third time this season we've given the away team a half-time lead and had to turn it around second half. And that was the only reason for that post is to say, can we expect this to happen all season long? It'd be fantastic if we do, but the odds are, no, we've got to find a different way of doing it and keeping the momentum going.
So it's a good one. What do you reckon, Gary? Are you happy with everything?
Well, overjoyed where we are, Wig. You know, if you'd said after 12 games at the start of this year with what we had and what we inherited and all the kids we had and, you know, potentially going to be playing, to say we're top of the league after 12 games, you'd bitten your hand off, wouldn't you? But it's you know, Osho had a nightmare again, didn't he? That's his second nightmare in consecutive games, and I think they had to take him off at half time, didn't they? For his own sanity and for the crowd, you know, everybody was like, you could sense it around the ground, and every time he touched it, and that last back pass right on half time, I mean, if it had been, you know, I mean, it was 15 yards wide of the goal. It was going like a shell, wasn't it? If he'd been on the goals, it'd been an own goal, wouldn't it? But yeah, you know, I think we've got to be. I mean, look, Trott bailed us out again, didn't he? He was man of the match by a streak, wasn't he? You know, he must have made 6, 7. When you watch the highlights, he must have made 6 or 7 saves second half. You know, I thought it was inevitably they were going to equalise at least. And
so I'm going to
delighted
take that
to
as
get out of there, you know, with a win.
Guys, I'm going to take that as a yes, then you're sort of happy.
Oh, absolutely delighted. I mean, honestly, look, the football, whatever it is, okay, although you test the ticker, doesn't it? You know, that and Orient, the previous game, it's much better than watching it. You're coming out the ground thinking, what a game that was. Oh, God, you know. At least it's exciting, isn't it? At least you're getting entertainment, aren't you? You know.
Yeah.
And long may it continue. You know, it's a damn sight better than last year. I know it's in a lower league, but at least you're looking forward to the game, and you know it's entertaining. So yeah, I am happy at the
What about
moment.
you, Mark? Are you wallowing that we're top of the league in Bromsgrove tonight, or are you
Yeah,
coming up
I
here?
don't think I would say I was wallowing. I think, everybody can recognise what Gary has said, in terms of some of the problems that we're having. I think, the first half performances are concerning, but we're winning games. And on the Osho incident, the only real positive from all of that was that Barry Murphy made a decision and said, you know what, he's having a shocker, he's got to come off. And there probably would have been managers that probably wouldn't have made that decision. So, there are concerns, especially when you think Osho is our only permanent signing from the summer. And the other two lads are on loan, and you're thinking, but we're getting away with it, and that's probably because we're in League One. Because you wouldn't get away with that in the Championship.
No.
We'd have been 2 or 3 down in the Championship with those sort of mistakes, and that's probably where I'd like us to be looking in saying, well, what are we going to do if we can get out of this division? What are we going to do when we go up? But we're top of the league. We can't ask for any more. Obviously, Stevenage got a game in hand, but it's early. But yeah, there are some concerns that teams know how to play us. That they sit back, and we just look a bit slow first half. And you made the point right at the very start. It's only when pace, the shackles are off, did we look like a decent side again. We just can't seem to do that from the first half an hour. I think we had one shot. I think it was one shot in the first 40 minutes. At home against a team that lower down the division. I can't quite work it out. But guess what? You cross the ball to Salak and he scores. We just need to do it more often.
I'll take it as you're sort of happy then, Mark. All right.
Yeah, we can't get any higher, can we? So,
And here's one for the pop fans. Getting away with it was a big 90s hit for.
Yeah. Not New Order. It was the opposite of New Order, wasn't it? Electronic. Was it Electronica?
Electronic. Yeah.
Electronic, yes.
I just thought I'd throw that one in, that's all. Pulling my other hat on, that is. So let's deal with the shackles there. And by the way, there's loads of comments coming in already. Thank you very much, boys. Keep the comments coming in. If you're happy, we need to know. And if you're not happy, we need to know as well. So let's deal with the shackles first then, boys. The Barry Murphy mentioned. The shackles came off. We looked better when the shackles came off. So is the manager then, or his staff, are they putting the shackles on first half? And if they are, then why are they putting the shackles on? Especially at home against a team who were, void of confidence and right down the bottom of the league. And I'll just throw in, I thought I was impressed with Reading, and they're number 10 who scored that goal on Saturday. Excellent. A really good, but their first touch around the pitch as well. They played us off the park the first half, to be quite honest, nice, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. We're not that team that we were watching a few weeks ago. We're getting 60-70% possession, and opposing managers were praising what we were doing. That's what we were seeing. And to me, and I understand, post match I can understand with a couple of injuries and niggles. But when I looked at the 11 that we started with on Saturday, I thought that's a really weird lineup. And Winslow dropped, Turnbull in midfield. The two centre halves were the two that probably we'd like to see the other pair, but I understand post match with a couple of injury issues within that. But I think the last 3-4 games now, we've had 4 to 5 changes every match, and this was happening a lot with Omar Reason last season. And I understand that injuries are playing their part in it, but I think the bottom line is that BBM is still fiddling around trying to find his best 11 to put out there, isn't it? And to a certain degree, we're a bit disjointed in these first halves, and it's only when this bench comes on, injects some pace and life into us, we start looking a bit like the Cardiff City we want to be seeing. So I think there's a little bit of that. Clearly, for me, midfield's been a problem for a few weeks. And with Turnbull was playing the holding role Saturday, and he did quite well, in fairness. Then you got Joel Colwell, who was all over the place, wasn't he? He was too far advanced, and I think we've seen that a little bit happen a lot recently, where other teams are finding it very easy to find space and room. And it's ridiculous that Orient and Saturday have had over 50 shots in 2 games down at Cardiff City Stadium, and that's just the little things they've got to try and put right. Obviously, the little things, but the big problems. Because if it continues like that, we won't keep getting the wins that we're currently getting.
And yet, Joel Cole was named today as player of the Carabao Cup third round. I noticed against Burnley, but he looked like a fish out of water on Saturday, Mark, didn't he? Yeah. He wasn't himself at all.
He did, yeah. I don't think that midfield works. Turnbull, Cole. I think they struggled. Ruben, he's there. Ruben's there as flair, right? He's playing as a sort of a 10 and creative player, but he, I don't expect Ruben to win the ball back. But yeah, Joel struggled, and I think Turnbull can be a little bit negative in how he plays. He's definitely all about possession, but every time he's making a pass, it's going usually back to the player that's giving it to him. So it's all a bit tippy-tappy. I don't think that helps us. And as I said in the comment before, I think teams have worked us out, and they do tend to sit back and say, okay, we'll play in front of us because you're just going left to right, right to left. And there's no space for the pace until players tire a little bit. And that's when the game opens up, and then we take advantage of that because the game's open and we bring on two quick players again, right? So I don't think we're playing with the shackles off. I just don't think the opposition allow us to do what we want to do by sitting so deep.
Yeah. Matt, I was just going to say on Turnbull, yesterday, Saturday was his 50th appearance for Cardiff, and he scored one goal, which was a penalty. Yeah. And yet when he came to us from Celtic, he scored 25 and 100 there. And when he was with the previous team, I think it was Kilmarnock, he was scoring 1 in 2, 1 in 3. And I'm just wondering, if that player was so good, he was scoring every 2 or 3, 4 games. How is it 1 in 50 at Cardiff? It just something's not quite right there.
Nigel, they don't shoot enough, do they?
The biggest groans we have. Oh, sorry, Gary.
I'm just saying, Mark. We don't tend to shoot as a team, do we? We get the edge of the box and we try and. On Saturday, I think what it was, I think he made a point in his post-match. He said that Osho hadn't trained till Thursday, I think, because he'd had a number of niggly injuries and he's not finding his rhythm. So obviously that seemed to suggest over the last couple of weeks he's been carrying something. Lawler's not fit. When Fish came on, he had his knee heavily strapped and he had strapping on his knees, on the inside and outside of his knee. And I think basically Chambers was the only fit centre-half we had, really. And the midfield, really, Turnbull and Joel, we've just been overrun, haven't we? It's just not. Yeah. It's just Turnbull is a possession-based player. He's probably our slowest midfielder, though. He's not particularly quick in his. He'll keep the ball, but I think we need. Again, we scored that goal. It's Capaccio going down the line, whipping a crossing, great finish. Carbon copy goal of Robinson's against the 4th goal that we scored against Leighton Orient. Carbon copy goal, right? And I think really, I thought Capaccio played well on. He did okay Saturday. He did fine. Okay, but I still think he's a better go forward player than a defender. And I think. So
let me throw this one at you then, and I mentioned it the last time I was on last week or the week before. Do you think at home we'd be better off playing when everyone's fit with 3 centre halves then and pushing our fullbacks up into the as wing backs?
It's certainly a possibility, Wig, I think, but certainly on Capaccio, I think it would suit him down to the ground. Because he looked so effective, he combined with Kellerman the previous game. Isaac Davis slipped him in this game, didn't he? Whipped it back goal. But I don't know if Bagan could really be a left wing back. I don't really know. We certainly got and while in my opinion on Saturday, while Chambers had a decent game, he did okay. He did okay, didn't he?
Yeah.
But going forward, particularly in Blood and Thunder away games. I just don't think he's a long-term centre-half solution. I don't think he's got a physicality to play against, Bolton coming up and other teams like that. And I just don't think he got a, I think Fish is obviously injured, isn't he? Because he's surely to God he's got to be starting with probably Lawler when they're both fit. But Lawler's got a groin problem, and groin problems don't go away in 5 minutes. They can malinger, and he's gone away with Wales as well, and I don't think that's helped. And he might be a case of nursing him through. They don't go away in a matter of days. So going forward, I think we got things to find, haven't we?
Yeah. Let's just grab a couple of comments because there's loads coming in, and keep them coming in as well. Interested to know what you think, what your preferred midfield would be. Paul Howells, boys, I think we're playing Di Turnbull out of position. His best position is a number 10. But let's ask you this one, Nige. I noticed this Saturday, especially in the first half, like we tend to. Why are we looking backwards in the first half? I'll give you a couple of examples. By us, the ball's 10, 15 yards in the opponent's half, in Reading's half. We got a throw in, and I noticed the first thing that Capaccio does is look backwards. We're 10, 15 yards in Reading's half, but he's looking to throw the ball back. Why are we going that way? Especially in the first half. And I've noticed it the last couple of games as well. We tend to go back too much when we should surely 10, 15 yards in the opponent's half. We should be looking that way.
I think part of the problem this season has been we haven't got pace on the wings, have we? And so you've got these two wide men, and they're both playing on their wrong side. And the ball goes to them, and they're always checking out, checking back. And when they put a ball in, it's never whipped in with pace, is it? It's a sort of curler, and that's to me why Salek looks ineffective a lot of the time. But it was a bit. What I found strange first half on Saturday was Kellyman, and I did have a little bit of a moan about him because I just thought he was doing nothing. He was just standing on the touchline and got the ball a few times, but go run at those defenders. But he didn't. He'd advance a bit and then look to lay it off somewhere. So I'm hoping the goal does him good, but the part of me realises they weren't really using him that well either, because he was always clear on that far side, but they weren't sending the ball over to him often enough. You just hope that goal gets him started, but I haven't been overly convinced by him. I can see the skills there, and I can see he's got the ability, but he's got to find another gear, I think, for us.
Well, I'll throw one in there, and I don't know if any of you noticed. I thought he should have scored with a header in the first half, and the ball came over, and he could have headed that ball. And Gilo said to me at half-time, he said, "Why didn't he head the ball, Steve?" And I said, "I have no idea." But the other thing I noticed, our wide men have got chalk on their boots all through the game.
They hug it, don't they?
Is that problem there? Are they too wide? Like I noticed Kellyman he never called for the ball, right? Well, so if I'm out there touching with the chalk on my boots, I'd be called a couple of times. A few times could have had the ball, but he's not calling for it. But are our wide men, Mark, too wide? Do you reckon? Do you reckon that's why we're getting this? Reading were good in midfield Saturday with their formation. I think they were 4-2-3-1. They seem to have a spare man in midfield.
I don't think they're playing too wide. I just think it takes us too long to get the ball out there. There's too many players need to have a touch of the ball to get it from one side to the other. And that comes down to ability and confidence. The ball I dislike the most is our centre-backs trying to ping a Lothar Matthäus type ball, across the wing, especially when Isaac Davis is on there and you're asking him to head it. I mean, he's the shortest player we got, right? But it's just trying to get that ball to those wide players quicker to take advantage of the fact that they're hugging the touchline. And I think if they come in narrow, I don't think that would suit us. And again, I think it comes back to the point is as the game gets stretched, the space just becomes bigger and bigger, and then we take advantage. I think we just got to find a way of not conceding in that first half an hour, 45 minutes. And I think Barry Murphy fancies us to beat most sides in the second half. But you want to see we all want to see a 90 minutes performance, don't we? And score 4 or 5, but maybe that's just not reality.
Are we being greedy there? I mean, are we being greedy? When you look at the two teams that went down with us, Plymouth and Luton, and we're perched on top of the league. Phil Wilson, thank you, Phil. Phil's come up with a good comment. He says, "Boys, would you rather 26 shots and 1 goal, or 11 shots, 2 goals and 3 points?" What do you reckon, Gaz?
The second option, obviously.
We're being greedy then.
Well, we are. That's typical football fans, isn't it? Really, we're moaning about winning last year. We're moaning about we didn't have a shot, in the entire game. But I think, like Mark made a point. I think we really, to get the best of the Salek, need to get more delivery into him and quicker. Yeah. Because Barry Murphy was saying after the game, wasn't he? Well, he said he had a word with the referee before the game to find out exactly how they interpret persistent holding now. Because to be fair to the bloke, he was getting pulled all over the place, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And every single time when he went into a challenge with one of the centre halves, it was a free kick against him. It wasn't like one for you, one for me. It was all the time, and some of them, they were pulling him over, And he's not getting a lot of change, is he? But you get delivered. He's got 5 in 12. Well, 12 games. He's 5 in the last 6 games. 7 games.
Yeah.
So if you get delivery into him, the bloke will score his share of goals. There's no doubt about that. But it's just like Mark said. It's about getting quick delivery in out to the wings, and then. Like going back to the 2 goals we scored against the Robinson against Orient and Salix on Saturday, that's what we need to be doing more often than not. Get into the touchline, get into the byline, and whipping crosses in. It's a killer. And in this league, getting behind the defense like that kills teams, doesn't it? It looks so easy, but the best goals are always the easy looking ones, aren't they? Bang, 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 goal.
What about our keeper, Nige? Mr. Noel Hunt, Reading manager, quoted that he isn't very good, which I hope everyone else thinks that as well, especially the Premier League teams will probably be having a look, because, without trotting in goals on Saturday, we could have been 3 more.
Yeah.
Very good. What do you think?
Strange how Noel Hunt didn't comment about his own goalkeeper with the Kellyman shot that went underneath him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful.
He wasn't going on about Reading having 26 shots and 1 goal. If it wasn't for Trott, it would have been 3 or 4. And if it wasn't for Will Fish making the most incredible clearance off the line, that would have been the Reading win. I was in the family stand, so I was behind the shot where Charlie Savage shot, and he tipped it over. Honestly, I was behind Trott. I didn't see the ball until the very last second because there was a crowd of players in front of him. It came through players. Yeah. How he even saw it to be there was unbelievable. So I did mention on the socials yesterday. We'll all remember Ron Healy, and they always said Ron Healy would get Cardiff 15 points a season. Yeah. If it wasn't for Trott saves this season, we wouldn't be in the playoffs, never mind top of the league, because he's won us a couple of points at Luton. He won us a couple of points Saturday with his saves. And that's why we've got that gap over the teams chasing us at the moment. There's other reasons, of course, but you can't deny his saves are winning us points.
Yeah. How old do you think I am, Nige?
Sorry?
How old do you think I am? Ron Healy.
No. Yeah, well, I'm told about it by my granddad as well, to be honest.
Let's get some comments in. Best ever keeper that you've seen play either at Ninian Park, this is for Cardiff now, either at Ninian Park or Cardiff City Stadium. I'll throw in Bill Irwin, who I
Bill.
Good keeper.
The Irish bloke. And Fred Davis wasn't bad when I first started watching
him.
Fred.
We've had really good goalies down the years, haven't we? David Marshall, of course.
Hang on, I'm going to throw in a dud. Frank Parsons.
You've had plenty of duds. Peter Zoe.
But we've had good keepers, and I don't know what the score is with Trott. Nigel, you probably know, but haven't we've got a clause in the contract in his loan that we can sign him if we go up. Is that right?
Yeah, that's as I understand it. That if we go up, we can sign him for 1.5 million. Yeah. That's a clause in the contract. But obviously, if we don't make it up this season, he ain't going to be with us next season either way, because he's heading for the higher division no matter what happens. The way he's going, isn't he?
We need more managers to tell him he's rubbish, to be honest with you. And say, it's awful. Worst keeper we've had.
Yeah. It is strange because he was who's the goalkeeper we got from Arsenal, who was absolutely rubbish last season or the season before.
Not Papa.
Because he was his He was. I can't remember his nationality. He was a foreign keeper. He played for us about the first 10 or 15 games, and he was absolutely dire.
Yeah,
that's the boy. But He was Trott was his understudy at Copenhagen last season. He was keeping Trott out of the team. So it's I don't know. It's quite strange in there how it works out sometimes.
Yeah, here's a good comment from Martin Ryan. Frank Parsons, he says, made Horvath look a good keeper. Andy Because Horvath got sent off on Saturday, didn't he? For the Owls?
It was shocking. It was shocking.
Yeah,
He hit the guy in the chest. It was terrible.
Yeah.
He absolutely creamed him about 2 yards outside the penalty area. He just flattened him.
Kung fu kick.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Hennessy in the World Cup, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Charlton's opener went right underneath him as well. So you had a bit of a bad one on Saturday. Nothing we haven't seen with him in the Cardiff shirt, though, is it?
Yeah.
And they don't have another keeper, do they?
No. They're trying to get an emergency, I think.
Yeah.
Going back to the point that Gary was making about crosses, is that, you know what's really pleasing is that those crosses that scored those 2 goals that Gary mentioned, we're actually doing that as a drill in the warm-up of the game. Right? It's one of the first managers I've seen that warms the team up to play in a way that they want to in 90 minutes. The amount of times I've seen managers come and we do this tippy-tappy passing, and you think, we don't do that in a game. There is a drill that they do in midfield where they knock the ball around and they look for an overrunning fullback who crosses it in, and we're scoring goals like that in a game. It's amazing to think how simple the game is.
Paul, CCFC Bluebirds, our midfield boys was shapeless, non-existent, but second half was much better. Sooner or later, he reckons it's all going to come together. So if we think about, is the midfield then, I mean, I'm going to say, is it a problem? Because it's not a problem because we won the game on Saturday, but is midfield our biggest problem, or is getting the defence right? Yeah. When's it all going to click together? Bearing in mind we're top of the league, man.
I think it's an early goal. It's an early goal that would help us, because then the other teams have got to come out and play. When it's 0-0 after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, they find their feet. Then they're going to get a bit of possession. That's when we start to think, it's all going a bit flat. I felt the stadium was flat on Saturday, if I'm being honest with you. 10 minutes into the game, you're thinking, there's 2,000 Reading fans that are starting to get a bit noisy. Yeah, and it's got to come from the. I'm not a great believer in all this, the fans have got to get behind them. I want to see what's happening on the pitch first, and then the stands will look after themselves. But it's that early goal at home that I think we really need to help the midfield, because you just talked about who the 2 centre backs are. I'm really not sure what the midfield should be. If I'm being honest, I wonder sometimes whether it's worth even perhaps putting Chambers in there in the front.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Mark. I totally agree, because I said earlier on, I don't see him as a long-term solution to our centre-half problem. If you had Lawler and Fish playing, if he's not going to play Wintle, I would consider, particularly in away games, playing Chambers in the holding role in front of the 2, and that makes a solid triangle there then. Yeah. And then you've got your 2 full-backs, because unfortunately, it looks like with midfield, what could be a solution to our problem appears to have down tools, doesn't he, Robertson? That's the strangest thing. The comments being made recently by the Australian manager when he flew all the way to Australia not to play a single minute of a game at all, and then the manager says, we're trying to find out what the problem is at Cardiff, or something along those lines, or the situation at Cardiff. Rumor is on message boards and things that a transfer fell through, didn't it? And in September or something, and he's thrown his toys out of the pram. I think his agent is his father, and I think there's a bit of. It seems strange that he hasn't even figured in one single game, not even at all.
Lee Griffiths is coming with he says we need Robertson back in the midfield. But if he's fallen up with a manager, Nige, it's a good comment, Lee. If he's fallen up with a manager, I mean, every time I see that they put the posts up, the City put the posts up of the boys training down the Vale, you see Robertson there knocking the ball around. He seems to be enjoying it. Yeah. But why are he playing there, Nige? What do you reckon is going on?
I think the truth is we don't know the full story, do we? There's obviously more to it than he's just trying to build up his intensity. That just doesn't ring true to me at all. But in terms of midfield, I always thought in the summer we needed to get a midfield kingpin. If you think of the last couple of times we've been down at this level, we had the likes of Graham Kavanagh, Paul Ramsey, and it's that type of midfielder we don't have. We haven't got that dog in there that drives us forward. And I've always felt that and the youngsters in the team need that sort of player in the middle to influence and control them. Bradford the other week, I can remember that Max Power for Bradford. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but for this level, the way he was controlling the game and leading on that pitch was the sort of thing that we're missing. And I don't think the answer truly is in the current squad. It might be we'll have to go out and do some business in January.
Definitely not. Definitely.
Yeah, and hold on till we get there. But I do think if we can get Robertson into this side somehow, maybe it could help. But I don't even know what the history is, because when BBM came to the club, he said, I was always on his case at Man City, isn't there? And there is some talk that it was BBM who got him to move away from Man City as well. So I really don't know what the story is. We're all putting 2 and 2 together and making 5, isn't it? But hopefully, if he can't get in the squad the next couple of weeks, when we play Arsenal under 21s or something like that, we know we're never going to see him again for Cardiff.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Matt, did we miss the cooling influence of Ryan Wintle in on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. I noticed on the Facebook post that you put up about this phone incoming, what should the side be? I'd have Wintle sat alongside Chambers, or working in that midfield. I know we got to fix some problem at the centre back, but I think of the two, Wintle and Turnbull, I think Wintle offers a little bit more to want to turn and go forward. And start to find those gaps, and he's just got a little bit more creativity about him, or desire to go forward, than perhaps either Turnbull is being allowed to. Coming back to Gary's point about him shooting, and Nigel mentioned the goals he scored elsewhere, it's got to be coached in him that he's not shooting, or he's not doing that going forward. He's constantly laying it off to somebody else. But I think we definitely missed Wintle. Again, a player that we couldn't find a place for last season and sent him out on loan, and he looks like a player that should be starting every week for us, and good on him.
And what about up front, Gaz? I mean, let's have a look at BBM switched. I'm trying to think of the last game at the City Stadium. Robinson started the game and scored it in the first half, didn't he?
Salah came on, didn't he, against Orient? Yeah.
Is there a case for 2 up front then at home?
But the way BBM plays, he's always got 2 wide men, isn't he? He plays with 2 wingers, doesn't he, all the time? So there's only one up the middle. I think we're light of 1 forward to bring on, because if either one of those 2 got injured, we'd be in big trouble, Robinson or Salek. And I think that the way he plays, obviously, with 2 wingers, we've got good cover there. I mean, fortunately, Tanner's injured now, and I can understand why he took Kean Ashford back off. It's a bit of a thing to the boy, but it was everybody understood. I think if you'd watched football, you knew that we had to bottle it up for the last 5 or 6 minutes, didn't we? We needed to go a little less, because we were too wide open. We were wide open, so I can understand that. But forward-wise, he tends to play just the one up front, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I wish we had another forward there, another type of forward to play either of those, Because like Nigel said earlier on about I think as a football team, we're as good as anything in the league, just playing football.
Yeah.
But teams get out of this league by jogging it, don't they? Stockport, the big powerful side. There's a couple of teams like that, Boat, and probably again they're a very sort of fight the wreck sort of side, and they So I think, and when we got so many young players in the team, I think Joel Colwell, he was brilliant. I thought he had a great game against Burnley away, absolutely great game, and he's played pretty well. But with young players, their form's going to drop off, isn't it? Because those sort of players don't play 6, 7, 8 games on it. They're dipped in and out of the side in normal circumstances, isn't it? And a lot of the younger players now are being asked to play. I mean, Ruben's played more 90-minute football this year, and he has in his entire career probably. Has he played about 8 to 9 games, 90 minutes?
Yeah.
So I think form, particularly with the younger ones like Kean Ashford, Joel Colwell, etc. I think I think their form will drop a bit. So you just got to, you know, I'm sure he'll be better next time he plays Joe Caldwell. But it's just that's where experience comes in.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of old heads in your team can just do that sort of thing. You know, I think that's what we might lack going forward. You know, is lack a little bit of experience and leadership there. We talked about leadership before.
Let me throw this one in then, boys. Are we? I mean, okay, so we appreciate that he's playing 2 wide men and 1 centrally, well, Salek centrally. So are we overplaying, especially in the first half? Right? Should we be getting the ball quicker to the wide men and Nige and fizzing balls quicker in the? Yeah,
I don't mind us overplaying as long as it's with a purpose. But a lot of the time, I've seen this passing going back and forward in and out. It's nothing going on, and I think that's the problem. And then if you get one or two of the players like that with Turnbull, he always seems to slow the game up for me. So and then they get into that rut then, and then it's trying to find that burst of intensity to get going again. And quite often, it doesn't happen until the second half. And when they're attacking the Camden end and they make a couple of changes, they've got that momentum going on. But earlier in the season, there was passing with purpose. But then, you know, too often we're seeing these balls being fed out to the wing. Ian Ashford, and I don't want to go on about it too much, but the number of times he just runs the ball to the touchline and then turns back or checks out. And the classic on Saturday was when he was on the break, wasn't it, with Isaac Davis, clear. They had to, the game, you only had to put it over and the game would have been over, you know, sent it over to Isaac. And he just ran out to the touchline and then stopped. And it's that there's something in the mentality that's just got to be sharpened up a bit. And hopefully that will come. I think in Keane's case, it's a lot to do with confidence at the moment as much as anything. But
we've frozen it.
Oh,
is that Steve?
I think we've lost Wiggy, haven't we?
Yeah, he's on the wrong end of that, you see.
Yeah.
He's the West End, and I'm on the East End.
No, I was, you know, as you were saying that, Nigel, I was just writing down that Keane Ashford breakaway, and you thought, for a youngster that's just come on, just get your head down and run into the box. No matter what you do, just get into the box and have a go. When he sort of you could see him slowing up, and you think, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, don't do that.
Do you think it's a lack of confidence, or that, you know, it's like, and where, like, inexperience probably would. Do you think it's that, or?
I don't know whether it's to me. I got a horrible feeling it's what they're being coached, because Turnbull won't give it away either. It's like they don't want to take that last little bit of risk. So if it's not absolutely on, keep the ball.
Yeah.
But
and a lot of players are playing like that, thinking, "Oh, well, I can't quite do it.
Yeah,
I'll give it to somebody else." Yeah. And we play like that over, you know, tap it to him. The amount of times that, you know, the canter stands screaming, "Somebody shoot! Just put your foot through it."
Yeah.
And a couple of times when they've actually done it, we've scored. You know, and you're thinking, well, why didn't we do that 10 minutes ago?
Yeah. But early on in the season, we were passing it quicker, weren't we? We were passing the ball a lot quicker and keeping it a lot more, because like we were saying, about 70% possession. That seems the last couple of games we're going back to being like we were, like, you know, not making 10-yard passes and giving the ball away, sloppy ball, and then all of a sudden we seem to be going back to that. Whereas early on, like we just kept the ball fun, didn't we? You know.
What did you think about that whole scenario, though, of those substitutions, which ended up Keane Ashford coming off? Because he took off a midfield. We were already struggling in midfield, and he took off a midfielder and put Robinson on, and suddenly realised 5 minutes in there we were all over the place.
Oh, we had 5 forwards in the field.
He called Salek over, I think, and sort of said to him, I think you better just go and stand in the middle of the pitch. Just go, whatever you do. And next thing you think, well, we're playing Salek in midfield now. Yeah. And I think he got away with it.
Yeah, he did. And I think at BBM, you know, his comments post-match said it was chaos, wasn't it, the last sort of 15, 20 minutes? And it was. I don't think there were any tactics or anything much going on there. We were just hoping we could hold out. And, you know, we didn't really do too much to try and kill off that game other than that key and Isaac break. But fortunately, we did. I don't think Trotz had any saves to make, too many saves to make later on, did he? So we did manage to close it out. And in fairness to them, you know, they have managed to close out a few games, because we're not winning games by big scores, do we? But there's been a couple of times where we've had to just claw our way back, get in front, and hold it out. And it's a good sign when you can do that. But like I said, I just don't know if we can keep going like that. They've got to get back to a settled 11 and get the spine of the team right, isn't it? It's that midfield area. It's the 2 centre backs, and if you can get that part of it right, that's half the beauty of what, everything else will start flowing from there. But at the moment, we're not quite right in both those areas.
Yeah. I think it's something we got to get right by Saturday all night, because that's going to be a tough game, a real tough game Saturday up there, and I think he's got to get his selection right and his tactics right, whatever that might be, because it's going to be a tough game Saturday, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess you're all going up, but you're all going to Bolton?
No, I'm not actually, Mark. No,
I'm going up. There's a Bromsgrove Bolton fan here that's been chewing my ear for weeks, ready to go up.
Is it?
I've been at the site, whatever that.
I've been up a couple of times and I've only ever seen us lose up there, as well as the FA Cup game where it got called off on the way up.
How many have they sold? How many have they sold? Is there any?
There wasn't many left when I bought mine, but I don't know whether that means they were just releasing them in sort of sections or.
Yeah. Because I know they had a few left for Wrexham, didn't they? They were coming down the criteria for that, weren't they? Really?
Yeah.
But I can understand that to an extent. That's not an easy place to get on a Tuesday night, is it?
No, it's Bolton for the 12:30 on Saturday. That's
and then Blackpool. We got some right travel into then Blackpool. We got Northampton away and coming up later on. And, some long trips in there really. So
a couple of things I wrote down. Obviously, Steve's struggling with his connection, but is a controversial one, and it might spark. What did you think of Willock's challenges in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game? I spotted 3 50-50 challenges.
Pulled out of.
I'm already pulled out. What do you think?
That's Willock, though, isn't it? He is never going to go in for a 50-50. I thought someone was 60-40 in his favour. The one he pulled out on the edge of the box where somebody dummied, and if he had stepped into it, he was inside the penalty area. And the guy slid, and he pulled out, didn't he? He stopped, didn't he? When the guy come across a bit and came at him and slid into him, he just pulled out of it. And they nearly broke away and scored, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
They broke up the field and nearly scored. No, they're non-existent, really. To be honest,
it's a real pet hate of mine. I don't mind losing, but you want the lads to really push it. It reminded me just a little bit of Al Ghazi last season away at Oxford. My brother will be chuckling now, listening. But I was fuming when he pulled out of that challenge when he was clean through with a keeper. I know there's injuries and we've seen what's happened with Tanner busting a gut to get the ball back at Wimbledon and what have you. But when he's playing in that position, I really want to see him put a foot in and win them. Because if he'd won those challenges, I think there was almost goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, there was.
Well, more so in the dying moments of the game as well. If it's early on in the game, you can sort of not even excuse it too greatly. But when we're hanging on at the end, you need those players to put in the big challenges, don't you? And just to the converse of that was Papakio. I thought he put in some fantastic hits in the second half on Saturday in those closing stages, and I hadn't seen him get stuck in quite like that before. And he certainly left a couple of Reading players crumpled with some of his challenges as well, which was it was great to see that.
I thought he was terrific second half. I really thought
had a good game.
Youngster, that he really took charge of his responsibility, and I don't know if you spotted it, but a couple of attacks down that wing. He made busting gut runs. He didn't get the ball, but it just allowed the winger to distract the fullback, make an over, and then open the play up again. I thought he's really maturing into a quality fullback. And again, you mentioned it about Trott, but if we don't go up, Capacchio's going to play at a higher level than us, I think.
He does find the killer pass, and when he gets to the byline, like going back to those 2 goals again. He does find, because there's nothing more annoying than getting down there and then hitting a defender with it over and he does more often than not. Once he gets there, you will find a player running. If you can cut the ball back like that to the 6-yard line, and in all fairness to him, when he gets in there, he delivers normally. So
there's fantastic composure. It's for his age. It's fantastic composure because you see all older, more experienced players are snatching, aren't they? They're getting to a position. Same as the goal he scored against Peterborough. Just calmness personified the way he put it on, where other players would just hit and hope. You know, there's an assurance in what he does.
No, you make a good point about the fact he's scoring goals. There's definitely more goals in him. If he as games go on, he's going to find himself as the extra man in the box at some point, and he's and I think I can easily see him getting up to between 5 and 10 goals this season if we carry on playing the way we are.
That's why I wonder it wouldn't be a sort of, in certain games too, where we're chasing to play him a bit further, because he nearly scored that goal against Orient, didn't he? He scored. Yeah. He went past about 3 players in the penalty, and he just didn't quite hit it he had once, But I mean, going forward, he's an handful, isn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah. He's such quick feet, and I think he'll develop into a more than decent player. There's no doubt about that. He's got all, he's got the tools, isn't he, to be a real good player, way above League One level, I think.
Yeah, and Bagan on the other side is doing a job for us as well, isn't he? He's he maybe hasn't got the pace of Capaccio, but he looks fairly solid. He's got the odd stray pass in him for me. Sometimes he can sort of his foot develops a 50p piece, but other than that, you think he's a solid, reliable fullback, and thankfully with Capaccio coming on board, I mean that's been a weakness for last year. Was really poor in that area.
In all fairness, he's had to play virtually every game, Bagan, doesn't he? Because we haven't got a replacement for him, have we? So, in all fairness to him, he's probably, along with Trott, he's probably played the most games this year, hasn't he? Yeah. Or in the league, So, in all fairness to him, he's been asking to, he's put in a shift, hasn't he? He's played virtually every game, so,
I don't think he's missed a game yet, has he? Including the Virtue Trophy games and Cup games. I think he's been featured in every one.
Yeah.
Not always a start in some of those Cup games, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he came on in our one game, didn't he, Nigel? Well, they played Mafiko as a left back at the start.
That's right, yeah.
And
that's right.
Yeah, they had to sub him, and he came on after about half an hour or so, didn't he, or 35 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the only game he hasn't started, I think. Yeah. To be fair to him,
Wiggy's just messaged and said he's stuck backstage now because he needs somebody to invite him in.
He needs Simon to get him back. Only Simon can get him back in. He's in the sin bin.
You just wave at him. He'll have to get hold of Si, I guess. I don't know how to.
So, how do you see? To me, the way the season's shaping up now, I think it's still 12 games in, but I think we're going to be playoff minimum now. I do believe that. And I do think if we can just stay there or thereabouts by January, you have to strengthen the team, because I'm sure BBM knows what positions and what players he needs to bring in by now, and he's probably already got those thoughts in his mind. But what teams do you see as our main challengers now? Obviously, we're looking at the league table. Do you think it's as simple as Bradford, Stevenage, Lincoln, ourselves, the four, maybe Huddersfield if they get their show going?
Stockport as well, Nigel, I think.
Stockport, of course,
they're a big, sort of strong side, I think. I think Stevenage might. Well, here we go. Stevenage might fall away a bit. It all depends what size of squad they got, doesn't it, and where they've had injuries. But I think we spoke in the last show I was on. I think in January, if we're still in the mix there, Tan's got to back him, hasn't he? If he does not back him, then what is the point in being there? Being that, we've got to. We all want to get back to the Championship first time. It's a hard enough task anyway. He's got to back the manager in January for whatever he needs to push us on. He's got to.
From where I'm based, obviously Birmingham dominated the division last year. Number of lads around here, but they spent big money to get out of this division. We haven't done that, and actually, it's kind of proven at the moment. As long as results are, maybe you don't need to do that. But I think if you're definitely going to get out, you'd like to see him back. We've only used 2 loans so far, so you'd like to think maybe you've got the option of picking up somebody that maybe was on the fringes of a Premier League squad or whatever that hasn't quite made it. I think you'll identify a couple of players, but I think I felt the spine of the midfield, the spine of the team needed refreshing. Keeper, centre back, centre midfield, and maybe a striker if I was being greedy. I definitely want to see him bring a centre back and a centre midfield in, and then go from there. Because Trott's been terrific, right? You know, and thank goodness, right? But Lawler clearly can play. You know, we can all see that. Fish, hopefully, if he can get himself fit. I thought, again, you don't know what's behind the scenes, do you? When they announce the squad, we all look at it at sort of 1:45 and think, oh, you know, now. But then you find out the truth later. So yeah, at least 2 or 3 players in the Jan window, possibly even a striker. I don't know. It depends how many Salak and Robinson have got. I genuinely believe Salak or Robinson need to score 20 to 25 to get us out of the division. So one of them's got to do that. And then pick up the goals elsewhere. Capaccio, we've already mentioned, he can score. Ruben's going to get goals. The other wingers are scoring. Tanner might be back come January. So, you know.
I think we're a bit light at centre forward, Mark. Like I said earlier on, I agree with you. Because if Salak got injured, or Robinson, we'd be in big, you know, to have one, you know, we've not got, like I said, most of the other, you know, Kean Ashford, Isaac Davis, they're all seen by Barry Murphy as wide players, aren't they? They're not going to play either of them down the middle, I don't think. So I agree with you, and I think we need another controller in midfield, definitely. Leader, controller, whatever you want to call him, you know, whether he can find one of them or not. But I don't honestly know, mind, whether he'd sign experience or older players. I think he'd go hunting in there, because he's not, you know, I don't know what sort of player he would, you know, he's got plenty of contacts, that's for sure, isn't he? You'd think so.
And it's slightly worrying. I think Wiggy mentioned it at the very start. The Reading, we said Trott was our man of the match, but I don't think he was the best player on the pitch. Their midfield were I'd have probably, if it was a neutral decision, you'd be giving it to somebody in Reading's midfield. And I'm getting a bit annoyed that's not the only midfield that's come to the Cardiff City Stadium and dominated us. You know, that we have found it a problem all season to play against teams where they're bigger lads. You know, some of them are really, you know, 6'3", 6'4" lads in midfield and can play. These guys can play football.
And it's purely and simply because we haven't got a midfielder who breaks up play. You know, the enforcer type midfielder, and we are seeing that with other teams, aren't we? And that is I know there's always been talk. We've been linked with Darko Diaby at Leeds, isn't there? And there's some talk he might still go back for him in January. I think they're possibly sniffing around him in the summer. And possibly if Robertson's not going to be here and he goes out, that could be the player that comes in. But he also adds a bit of height to us. So that's the other thing I tend to notice is some of these teams we're playing, they look a lot bigger than our boys, don't they? And we've been a side that have quite a bit of height, and we're not as dominant on set pieces when we're attacking as we used to be, because Colwell's using his head this season for the first time, isn't he? But he's our biggest. Him and Salek, take them out of the team. You do see other centre halves, and you know when they come up against our defence, and we think, oh, we're going to do well to keep at bay here. We do. Yeah. I don't want height for the sake of having height, but I do think we miss a little bit there as well. And just on this season, I think it's a one-season hit to get out of here. And the worry for me is I want us to go up this season. Of course we do. But what happens if we don't go up? And we got so many good, talented youngsters making a name for themselves. Yeah. Are they going to be around next season for us to build on this season? And so it's a real dilemma, I think. If we get back this season, great, we can build and go forward. If we don't, you just wonder what next season's going to look like in League One, because I think we'll be sure one of a few of those young players. Yeah, 3 or 4 of them, I think, next, to be fair. I mean, Capaccio and Lola, certainly. You know, people are going to be sniffing around their money. Yeah, a chance level, you know. Might be as soon as January, for all we know. Absolutely,
And what if they come in with big money, right? Are we going to turn that down?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what Tam would do if somebody come in with some big money for Lawler. You know,
what do you think big money is for him at the moment, though, Mark? What do you think big money for him and Capaccio would be? You know, I'd hate to think they'd take 5 or 6 million for him, but you never know, do you?
I mean,
You know,
I was chuckling earlier. Kellyman was sold for 19 million.
Yeah, I know.
So that must put Lawler at 36 or something like that. I mean, you'd be
I
looking
think
at.
you said on night you don't get much for 19 million, do you?
No, not
I mean,
at
it's
all.
just crazy figures. They're paying. You see these teams in the Prem. They're paying crazy money for. You know, I mean, like years ago. Now, Chelsea are looking at some other guy now. 86 million. Oh, it's spending another 86 million.
Yeah.
Or something. You know, it's just telephone book figures, isn't it? You know, it's like spending pennies now. 19 million.
Yeah.
You know, I beggars belief, really. I mean.
But he'd have been sat in Chelsea's squad, wouldn't he? Had sat, they're probably 40, 45 players at that age, all
Yeah.
You know, it can't be good. That can't be good for the game. But I don't know.
Nah. Game's moved on, haven't it? From us chipping in a couple £100 to buy Kurt Nogan for City. Or Phil Britton, I remember us doing it for down the years as well.
Yeah.
Did you keep the receipt?
I've actually got the share certificate here somewhere. I sold it earlier. It's behind me, look.
Fair play.
250 shares. I think they're worth about 2.6 pence now.
You couldn't even buy a beer with that, could you?
No.
It probably gets less in value every time
exactly.
releases more shares, isn't it? Yeah, to confess, I'm a shareholder as well. I got about 100 shares or something like that. Family passed down.
Yeah, it's funny. I found that I was having the sort out a couple of weeks ago, and I came across it. I forgot I even had it.
Yeah. So what's the answer? How much money are we accepting for Lawler?
Wow.
Well, hopefully we're not going to get that bid until the end of the season. But I don't think he's going to be with us for too long, whether we go up or not. I think he's just destined for the higher levels. And as we've seen with the players like Kellyman, the Premier League take these best young talents around, and you can see him going to somewhere like Chelsea, probably, and being sent out somewhere else to play next season. That's what tends to happen with these youngsters now, isn't it? Where it works. I don't understand the full workings of FFP and PFI and everything, but there's an advantage, isn't there, of them buying these homegrown talents, and it does something to their books that I don't understand, which has had quite a bit to do with the Kellyman deal, I'm sure.
Absolutely. When you think about Villa sold Kellyman to Chelsea. That's straight bottom line, 19 million on the books.
Yeah.
Young lad.
Clear profit then, isn't it? Clear profit in their accounts then, isn't it? But I was watching a bit of football from League One. I think I watched the Huddersfield game on the Friday night, and there's the number of every team seems to have this guy's on loan from Chelsea, this guy's on loan from Man City, this guy's on loan from because Bolton he's a decent winger to double battle name. He's a lad plays on the wing. I forget his name now. He scored their winning goal again, Bolton's winning goal at Huddersfield. He's on from Brighton. Yeah. He looks at I think last year, wasn't it? At one point, didn't Chelsea have something like 33 players out on loan across the Football League? Yeah. At one point, it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, but they just stockpile players, don't they? And then sell them on with,
We touched on it earlier. Don't want to be talking too many negatives. What did you think of the Osho 45 minutes? What is going on there? Because he can clearly play going forward, but his body language is a real worry. This laughing at the mistakes is
I think that's just a natural thing, isn't it? But he's had those 3 consecutive Saturday horror home shows, hasn't he? With Bradford with the penalty, then the Orient game, then again last Saturday, and you can see it's affecting the other players around him, the confidence of them, and it affects the shape of the team. And I think BBM took him off for the shape of the team as much as saving Osho as well at the weekend, because they were all struggling with it. But I don't know whether he just needs to have some reset break, because he was playing League One, apparently doing quite well. But if you read, I was talking to a couple of Reading fans after the game in the casino across the way, and Osho used to be at Reading, and they said what they saw is what they saw with us is what they saw a number of times with Reading before he went to Luton as well. That he's always got this sort of careless mistake in him. the one on Saturday was bizarre, wasn't he? Because he just didn't look. He just instinctively just wanted to hit the ball across his penalty area and not even look to see where who was there or where the keeper was or anything. It's just bizarre. For a player of his experience and age, he should be better than that.
I think, to be fair now, he could have taken him off against Lake to beat in the previous home game.
Yeah.
Because he had it, and then what he did something really well. He nearly gave a goal away, exactly the same in the first half. We got back to 4-3, and right late on in the game, if you remember, he tried to dribble past somebody on the halfway line, got caught, and they should have scored again, shouldn't they? Connolly should have. If it was Connolly broke, he should have scored, shouldn't he? It would have been 4-4. And then this game, he does exactly
that's right.
And I think he had to. He had to take him off. He said he's never seen him make so many mistakes. Obviously, he knows him well, doesn't he? Barry Murphy knows him well.
Yeah.
And he's saying
he had him at Rochdale, didn't he?
Yeah. And I think he tried to say that he hasn't been able to train flat. I think that's the way he tried to explain it away. I hope it is as simple as that, and he's not. Yeah. You know, because at the moment he looks horrendous, doesn't he? I mean, there's no way he's starting at Bolton, is there?
No,
there's no way.
No, absolutely.
No. You know? And
I think the trouble is, I was the other end to Saturday to where he was defending first half, but you can hear the nervousness in the crowd now when he's got on the ball. You know, and as soon as you could hear the sort of gasps and what have you. You know, and I think that's bound to be shaking him up as much as anything. He's human after all, isn't he? But.
Well, to be fair, Fish in the second half did exactly the same thing with another back pass going. But and I thought, crikey, we got another one that's catching him. But to be fair to him, he got himself out of jail there, didn't he? Really, the clearance was just terrific.
Again, I was behind that one, and I know whether people only didn't see it in parts of the ground until they saw the TV footage of it. But behind the goal, that was just unbelievable. You know, the whole stand, there's not many of us in that family stand area. Yeah. Everyone was on their feet with that. It reminded me of Damon Sill used to do some miraculous goal line clearances a few years ago. But it was the way he sort of switched feet as well to, because it was coming across him on his right. He switched feet to just rock it and pushing away with his left. And it was a stunning moment. That I did say it was world class at the time, and it was. That was astounding. His piece of work there. But I think most of us are all of the opinion, aren't we, that if they can get Lawler and Fish fit and ready, that seems to be our most capable centre back partnership. Yeah. I'm not saying they're the best individual players of all the centre backs. It's the best partnership.
Yeah.
I got so Wiggy's trying to butt in now. So now we
just say time's up.
He's got a question. It says he wants score predictions against Bolton. So go with you, Gary.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it'd be a really tough game, Mark, and I think I would happily settle for a 1-1 draw. I think anything up there will be a good point. So again, we've got to be much more turned on defensively. We've got to really, show physicality, I think, up there, because I think they will come at us. But I'd settle for 1-1. I mean, I'd be happy with that. I don't know, 1-1 would be fine.
One each. Okay, go on then. Nige, what you reckon?
I was listening to the View from the Ninian podcast this morning, and I hadn't realised we've only conceded 1 goal away all season, and that was a Stockport penalty. So we still not concede any goal at all. So I'm going to say we're going to get a 1-0 win, because I don't want to tempt fate and say, right, we're going to concede at Bolton. But I've never seen us do well at Bolton. We did win an FA Cup game there quite recently, didn't they, a few years ago? But Bolton always seem to have our number up at their place. So, but I'll go for a 1-0 to City.
So, according to Sai's going 3-1 City.
Oof.
So his internet must still be playing up. That's what he's talking about there. I'm going to go with you guys. I think I'm going to go 2 each. Although that's what I've written down until you, Nige, said we've only conceded 1 goal away. But I'm going to go 2 each. I think it'll be a tough game up there. They're well supported. Bolton go everywhere in big numbers. I think it'll be a tough game. So 2 each, and with a bit of luck, if Stevenage don't win a game, and maybe still top of the league.
We stay there, yeah. Although there's 4 only a point behind us, isn't there? So one of the 4 are going to win if we draw.
We have to wait for Si to come and close all this down. So again, Wiggy, another question from Wiggy. Obviously, Wrexham away. The following midweek. What do we think of Wrexham away?
Well, that's going to be fun, isn't it?
I wish we could have got them at home because we'd have probably got 20,000 in.
Yeah.
But I mean, up there is again we've had some shocking draws. Away to Peterborough in the FA Cup, away to Wrexham in the cup. Oh God, I can't see us winning up there somehow. But it all depends what sort of side we're going to play. If we got patched up centre half, like who's he going to play? What sort of team are we going to turn up there? Just go up there and have a go, basically. But I think it all depends what sort of side he puts out. The league's a big one for me. I think more important than that. But it's last 8 to the cup, isn't it?
Well, I was going to say there'll be something juicy on the in the next round for sure. I mean, there's got to be at that point. So there's a big pot of money somewhere if we could get through the Wrexham game.
Yeah. The problem with me with these cup games is that again, it's just going to add to the congested fixtures that we have. We're going to have this other international break, aren't we? So with a game in hand on a lot of teams, by the next international break, it could be 2 or 3. And then you get these cup games filling in midweek fixtures as well. And I just think that makes we are a fairly still limited squad in terms of numbers, aren't we? And that will take its toll. And so I want us to beat Wrexham because I just don't want them to have bragging rights. But yeah, I'm not going to be too disappointed if we lose that one because it is all about the league this season. We'll be gutted on the night, but we move on from that if we don't come through.
Yeah, you get to see us on Netflix if we.
Well, that's why we don't want to lose to him.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
he look much better if we beat them.
I think Barry Murphy will take that game seriously. I honestly do.
Oh yeah,
potentially. So I can see us winning there.
Yeah, the players will be up for it. The players will be well up for it, won't they? They'll want to prove a point. And the game is live on ITV as well as Sky, isn't it? So the whole country is getting.
Yeah.
So
if we could have drawn them at home, I think we'd have had a really healthy crowd because they would have brought a good mob down, Wrexham, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think we'd had a really good crowd, and to go all the way up, 12. It's just one of those things. And Peterborough away in the cup. Oh God.
Yeah. I know. Someone didn't like us.
I'm not making that journey. I'll be honest with you. I think that'll be
What, Wrexham or Peterborough?
Peterborough. I think I'll.
I think that league game a few years back when Dave Jones was manager is the most annoyed I've ever been after a football match. We were 4-0 up at half time in Peterborough. That game could have been 6 or 7, and we were lucky to get a draw in the end.
Yeah.
I was absolutely fuming when we came out of that with a 4-4 draw.
I can remember that one.
Yeah.
I can remember going there once, Peterborough, and the game got called off 50 minutes before the kickoff. It was a frozen goal at one end.
Yeah.
And I was on the pitch and Barry Fry, I was on the words with Barry Fry on the pitch that day. And then the Tuesday after, we went to Port Vale, and that got called off 40 minutes before the kickoff.
And coming home from that game, Nigel on the way back on the supporters bus from Peterborough, our bus broke down. So they sent a new bus up there. We got home at God knows what time it was, even though the game was called off. Yeah. And then when we got back, we got off the bus and somebody nicked our car.
Oh no! So there was fun memories of Peterborough.
That was a great day. That was really.
Wiggy's telling us we got to keep going because we've got to has got to come and shut it down. And we're probably taking YouTube by storm now. We probably viral, right? I tell you what, I did want to say something before. I don't know if you noticed it, but obviously we had a minute's applause for Aberfan on Saturday, and I think it would be appropriate to mention it. I don't know if you spotted it, but the Reading goalkeeper. The Reading goalkeeper held the ball back for 20 minutes, 30 seconds. And I don't think the press have picked up on it. And I thought, well, fair play to you. that was a really quality piece of goalkeeping to do. Just to say he stood back. I'm just going to let this go for 20 seconds, and I thought it's worth a mention. I thought I'd give a huge amount of credit to and their keeper for that.
Yeah. I did notice the referee sort of signalled to him to hold it. I did notice that from where I was. It was great bit, and the Reading fans took full part in that as well, didn't they? It was very emotional moment that was.
Can I just say, gents, that the show was infinitely better when I wasn't on.
Have you not been on?
Well, you haven't been here.
I just went off for 40 winks. That was all.
No change there.
Thanks ever so much for coming on. Steve's back next week, so hopefully things will return to some normality. But had a cracking show, and good luck to the Bluebirds on Saturday away at Bolton. And we'll all catch up soon.
Thanks, guys, Mark, Steve. Catch you, boys. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/Ace Podcast Nation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasion